Welcome to another episode of Be a Stand-Up Leader. I'm Jared Whitman. I'm here with John Russell.
Good day.
I think I was going to say with John Russell.
The pursuit of being a stand-up
The pursuit of being a stand-up leader. I should get the name right. Eventually, we'll get the name right.
Right.
This podcast is breaking down John's book, Be a Stand-Up Leader, the ABCs of Getting the Job Done Right. We are going through this book chapter by chapter. I don't know why I'm struggling so much today. It's been like 2 weeks since we filmed. A while. Yeah, so I'm like
you're back on the camera. You're not behind the camera. You're in front of the camera.
That's right. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on camera. But we're going through John's book chapter by chapter, and today we're talking about judging and non-judgment. And before our conversation, or before we started the camera, we're talking about the topic, and I think it's just a pretty wild topic. Not wild in the sense of
it's different.
Yeah. It's like what was the word that you used? So esoteric.
Esoteric. It's a little bit of a trip down the mental pathways.
Okay. Yeah.
Of thinking.
Yeah. So you're saying that like there's a like a business. This is all business and stuff, and this is like kind of outside the realms of everything. Of everything, like kind of in that gray zone.
It's
of
kind of like how your mind works.
Yeah.
When you're around other people.
Yeah.
And can you control it?
Isn't that yeah? I think like and this is something I said, like there's like a certain realm or area, not what I want to say. I can't think of like a speedometer, right?
Yeah.
Of like between these ages, you think that everyone
a range.
Yes, a range. That's you're on.
I'm trying to think about a speedometer.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I was like
0 to 60.
What is the word I'm looking for?
That's right. I'm the word guy.
I appreciate that about you, John. But like, there's a certain number of a certain range of age where people think, oh, everyone's judged me, everyone's thinking about me,
right.
And then you get into this other range of age where you don't care what people think about you, and people are going to judge you no matter what. So right. Let them judge you. And then you get to the end part of the range where you realize that people just weren't even thinking about you at all or judging you because we have so much other stuff. Everyone has all this stuff going on. Like as much stuff as I have going on, you probably have going on about the same amount of stuff. And Lucas has got going the same amount of stuff. So we're all like focused in on our own worlds, and I'm not judge. I'm in no position to judge.
It's a good point. Is we are focused on our own worlds.
Yeah.
And what we think about how others perceive us, and oftentimes how we perceive other people. And I was exposed to this topic by Deepak Chopra,
which I'm glad that you brought that up.
He is very incredible, smart individual.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. It was kind of life-changing for me. And all 7 laws are really interesting. And they're based on a philosophy of Eastern thinking, yeah. Eastern religion. In India, that's where Gandhi came from. And
Zen.
A whole Buddha. Different way of thinking. Yeah. And I'm not an expert in whole Eastern thinking and Eastern methodology, but right. This book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, brought to me an understanding about 2 things in particular that I took away. One is the law of currency,
yeah.
which is what you contribute to the universe in terms of energy, ideas, attitude, positivity, karma.
Yeah.
It comes around.
Yep.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
The law of currency. It's all in flow.
Yep.
So if you want to be a positive contributor, you're probably going to get some positive back out. But the law that really stuck out to me was this law of practicing. It's called the law of pure potentiality is the official term. He suggests using the phrase, "Today I shall judge nothing that occurs." Non-judgment creates silence in your mind. And so I started thinking about, well, every decision you make, Every decision you make, you have to make a judgment.
Yeah.
Am I going to work today? Yes, I am. Do I like that person? Yes, I do. Do I have conflict with this other situation? There is conflict there. There's all these things, and it's oftentimes about situations and people.
Yeah.
And I'm talking more about people today,
Yeah.
in that to not judge is extremely difficult, almost impossible.
Yeah.
Because if you have it on the top of your mind and you think about it and something comes up, people are quick to judge.
Oh yeah.
People are quick to judge other people. If they're late for a meeting,
Yep.
a judgment takes place. If somebody fails to turn in their assignment on time, a judgment takes place. Are we going left or right? A judgment takes place everywhere you look.
Yep.
So I think about it in terms of how we think about other people, because it's easy to dismiss somebody who has different beliefs than you. Let's look at the political arena without getting into politics.
Yeah.
Everybody's judged on whether or not you like this candidate or that candidate.
Right.
Are you on my side or are you on their side?
It's very black and white.
And
where
it can be.
it can be very black and white for most of the population, I would say.
Yeah, it can be, but it can be hurtful.
Yeah.
It can be negative.
Yep.
Judging somebody negatively doesn't accomplish a whole lot.
Right.
So I put this in the book because my goal is to help people separate their decision making from judging other people all the time. It's okay to judge. You have to judge.
Right.
That's how you make good decisions. Leaders, stand-up leaders, are making critical decisions all the time, and they're making judgments based on the facts that are at hand.
Yep.
The problem that I have is when people pass judgment on other people without knowing the facts.
Yeah, I think that
That's the crux of the whole matter.
this is like there's what you know about the situation, which is probably like this
Very small amount.
very much, and then what you don't know, which is the entire circle.
Right. I'll give you a silly example. Let's just say, for example, that today we have a video shoot scheduled. And let's say Lucas can't make it.
Yeah.
He's behind the camera.
Yep.
Running audio, running video, running lights.
Doing all of it.
Pretty important.
Yeah.
Helping set up, helping tear down, making it happen.
Yep.
What if you called me up and said, Lucas can't make it and I can't make it either. I've got other more important things to do today. Sorry, I'm not coming. So in my mind, what's the first thing I think? Broken meeting?
Yeah.
Two different people, two different sets of excuses, two different reasons why it's not happening when it was scheduled.
Right.
I can look at that in one of two ways. I can look at that with negativity and say, well, that's not good. What's wrong with those people?
Right.
How come they couldn't deliver on their promise?
Right.
And I get a little bit of a jaded mark in my mind about, are you going to show up on time in the future?
Right.
Is this something that's going to happen all the time? Are you late for other things?
Yeah.
Do you cancel often? So that would be taking a negative approach to it. I'd be judging you in a negative fashion.
Yep.
On the other hand, if I knew what the facts were, and I found out that Lucas's wife was just in a car accident and she's in the hospital and he can't make it, that's a legitimate deal.
Right.
And then you can't make it because Lucas and you are a team, and that if he can't be here, we really can't go through with the whole situation. We're not going to be able to do this shoot. So the compassionate side of me would be to not judge.
Right.
And say, I'm not going to pry into Lucas's life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pry into the reasons why you can't make it. And I'm not going to judge you on the fact that this just didn't happen.
Right.
It's just a strange situation.
I think being curious first and then critical second is a good way to go about things. Like, why? What are the reasonings instead of going quickly
Yeah.
to
Don't
judge?
jump to conclusions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I wrote in here, only when you decide to practice non-judgment in the situation can you be open to hear and learn the other person's factual truth. See the subject or situation through the eyes of the other person.
Yep.
Empathy. Only then can you begin to understand why that person feels the way they do, and says the words they do, and behaves the way they do. So you're right. Don't rush to conclusions. Don't jump to some assumptions when you don't know the facts. You
Yeah.
don't know the truth. There's a whole bunch of extenuating circumstances that goes on in people's minds when they make a decision that's judgmental.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, stand-up leaders are always working towards practicing non-judgment. So it takes great strength of mind and mental clarity to be able to, in the moment, not judge. It takes a really conscious effort. You have to almost be in the back of your mind thinking, I'm not going to judge. Say to yourself, I need to gather more information before I can determine what were the circumstances surrounding the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your judgment of others is solely based on your perception of the facts.
Yep.
Nothing else.
Which you only know so much.
A small amount.
Yeah.
So practicing non-judgment opens your mind in a clear, non-biased way.
Right.
And in today's world where people are often at odds with each other, wouldn't it be kinder and gentler and more compassionate and showing more empathy to just say, I understand,
Right. Yes.
and go with it?
Yeah. I think that I look at things from two different viewpoints, because I was in a position of throwing judgment towards people without recognizing the empathy that I could have had for them. I would say in my younger days, and as I've grown older and become more aware of the fact that everyone has so much going on, and it's not all about me, it's not all about all of this. We all have separate lives, we all have a lot of stuff going on. The more I'm aware of what I'm saying or what I'm thinking, allows me to be more cognizant of, hey, that's not a great way of thinking. Let me, what is the reason why this person cut me off? Or why are they speeding? Why did they cancel last minute? Was there something going on? Being curious first,
Mm-hmm.
and then critical second.
Right.
Now, if it happens on a consecutive manner, like if someone cancels
Continuously.
multiple times, yeah, if someone is late consistently,
Right.
then I'm gonna be more critical.
Might be more judgmental.
Yeah, more judgmental about giving them my time.
Right.
And then they lose the benefit of having that time.
Right.
My time. But I think, like, something that you've said multiple times is just lowering your expectations
Mm-hmm.
across the board overall.
Right.
And whatever happens.
So you're not disappointed all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Just really lower my expectations on a lot of things. And then also, like, when you remove judgment, like I am in no position to judge. I am human. I mess up.
Right.
Often. I'm in zero position to judge. But just having lower expectations and
well, I just, you touched on something a second ago about people being flawed.
Yeah.
And I have learned this from other people, in that when I hear people judging others, I have to gently remind them that all of us have our faults.
Yep.
All humans are flawed.
Yep.
And most of us, or all of us, have some sort of disability.
It's a good way to put it.
It could be in your mind.
Yep.
It could be physical. It could be a disability related to circumstances around you that affect you.
Yep.
And it's often hidden and it's often masked.
Yeah.
It's covered up.
Yeah.
I don't really want you to know what my flaws are. I mean, we all have something in the back of our mind. It's like, I'd rather not have everybody know about either my past or how I think or what I did or, I don't want to be judged.
Right.
But the reality is if you accept the fact that we're all kind of on an equal playing field and nobody's perfect, accept the fact that things are going to happen, that you may feel go against your beliefs, go against your values, go against what you've been taught.
Right.
And it's easy to jump to a conclusion and say, oh, so-and-so did this or so-and-so did that, or this is what happened to me today because of so-and-so. Well, before you cast that stone, ask yourself, do you really understand what really is affecting that person?
Right.
And the truth is you probably aren't going to know.
I agree.
So why not just let it pass and accept it as being one of those things? So one way to think about non-judgment is this. When you observe something that causes you to begin to judge someone or something, step back and listen for the reason why it happened or why the person said or did something that you think worthy of judging. Then ask yourself, what do I know about all the circumstances that cause that situation or behavior? What's the backstory?
Yep.
And realize that you don't have all the information to judge somebody. So instead of making judgmental decisions every day, try to differentiate between the decisions other people make and judging other people when you only have a few limited facts. So my advice is to practice non-judgment. If you really want to get the full picture of the law of pure potentiality in Deepak Chopra's book, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, I'd recommend it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Practice
non-judgment. Experience a new way of understanding others.
Yeah.
Try it.
I would piggyback on top of that is experience a new way to understand yourself while you're understanding others.
Great point.
I think that when you remove the need or the want to judge people, you're removing things from your mind. You're removing that headspace, and you're able to think a lot more clearly. I think like all of this is super beneficial to stand-up leaders and business owners. Not having that judgment button flipped on, and being curious first and critical second, and then lowering your expectations. Everything that we talked about has been really beneficial and just a great avenue as you continue to
different
age,
way of thinking.
Yeah, continue to grow, continue to evolve.
I agree with you there.
Yeah,
it is more of an advanced level of thinking.
Yeah,
not to jump to conclusions.
Yeah,
and so my advice is, before you jump to conclusions about somebody or something, step back and ask yourself, what do I really know about the situation here? And maybe you can let that go and have some compassion.
Yep.
And say, I understand.
Yep.
Situation has come up and we'll have to make another plan. We'll go with plan B. And that way people don't get all wigged out.
Right.
And you probably find that your relationships stay better and people will respect you more for not being too judgmental.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to say what I really think of there. So that's our chapter today on judging, non-judging, being non-judgmental. Take a deep breath, step back, look around, understand you don't have all the facts, and cut the other person some slack.
Yeah.
Is about the bottom line.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything else?
No, nothing else to add.
Pretty simple.
Pretty easy.
that does it for this episode of The Pursuit of Being a Stand-Up Leader. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.